All right. Well, let's move on. So let's go to the top five things to watch next week. And Kev, you're long nat gas. What's going on here?
Well, I bought the stocks today, and it's not like I knew
The
enough. Like,
stocks
listen,
or the nat?
yeah, that's I bought nat gas stocks because I hate being long nat gas. Again, huge negative
Yeah, but the
carry,
nat
right?
gas stocks didn't budge.
I know. Well, that's why. You know what? That's because I bought them,
Okay, that's fair enough. Fair
right?
enough.
Like let's face it. Like the fact that I'm buying, I think that they're cheap. I look at this. I just hate being long something with negative
But
carry
you know
like
what?
nat gas.
Maybe I'm gonna say something naive, but like I mean, a lot of those nat gas stocks overlay into the same energy ETFs that the main energy companies and oil gas plays are in. It's hard to get the nat gas stocks moving. At least I don't remember, or at least I haven't maybe tracked it enough. But have we seen periods where nat gas stocks have been running while the broader energy stocks are not? Have
Well,
you? Have you
listen,
seen
nat
that?
gas has just been going down for what, like 10 years?
Yeah, but the thing is, but look
Like
at
we
the
haven't
like.
had a we haven't had a good natural gas rally since like Jonathan Hunter. I mean, since what was the guy's name? Brian Hunter, right?
Well,
What was the
or
guy's?
you're talking about optionsellers.com.
Yeah, no, oh yeah, we had a little spike there, but that was a spike in the underlying, and we didn't get any move really in the actual
Yeah, but that's just the whole
stocks.
point, right? Like, I mean, look at this XLE, which is the energy ETF. And like, I mean, to me is a tell for how the entire basket trades. I mean, I don't think those natural gas. Is there an ETF that just trades natural gas stocks
Yeah,
independent?
Oh no, I don't know about the stocks. I don't know.
See, because like they're all basketed into the energy bundle, right?
Yeah.
And so like when you're taking, I'm gonna just pick on Chesapeake just for the sake of thing, but like I mean for Chesapeake to
No,
run,
do in Canna.
okay, but
Like
in
I don't
Canada
know.
and Chesapeake, how is that any different than Chesapeake? God damn it!
Well,
Like that's the same chart.
you're Canadian, man. You're Canadian. You
Oh
gotta
my
do
God.
that, Canna.
It's the same thing. Like they're beaten down names. But all I'm saying is that you gotta. I personally think that first of all, I love your idea. I think nat gas stocks are uber cheap.
Yeah.
In principle, I am not trying to be an opposition saying that your idea is dumb. I just personally think that if energy and the oil and gas plays continue to weaken, because let's say oil doesn't turn around here, I think that you're going to have a lot of headwinds that are going to prevent these things from getting a pop. But I mean, who
Well,
knows?
could be. I sold some puts to be honest. You know me. I'm always short, Vol.
Yeah, yeah, that's not a
Like
bad
I
play though,
you know what?
actually.
Because I want to earn the carry, and
Yeah.
I hate. And that's the only way I know to do it. And I picked up some cheap names, and I picked some Canadian names that I thought were cheap. But I still like them. I think that it could be the kind of thing that surprises everybody. All of a sudden, we get a situation where nat gas rallies, and nobody's looking for it. Those are the kind
Yeah.
of things that I like. Okay,
So
European yields
European yields, like
number four.
Kev, what the hell's happening in Germany? Like, and
Okay,
forget that. How about even what's happening in Italy and shit? But like, I mean, we
okay.
saw yields. The 10-year yield went minus 40.
So Patrick, I'm going to save it for next week.
Why?
But I think that we saw the lows in German yields.
It's possible.
I
I
I
mean,
really
I think it's crazy that they're here in the first place. So for you to make that call, I can't disagree. Like, I mean, if
so
we were at minus 20 basis points in a month, would I say that that is not right? Like, like I mean, I think it's absurd that it's at minus 40 in the first place.
so first of
It's
all, the minus 40 is right on the deposit rate. So
yeah.
I think it's like in essence kind of like it was obscene number that we were seeing.
The
I
10
think this
year is
Lagarde. I think this.
trading
Yeah, like it's.
unbelievable.
Yeah, so I think this Lagarde thing is a bigger deal than the market realizes. I have been saying for a long time that until we see spending from the European
At the
kind
fiscal
of
level.
like on the fiscal side, I will not short German bonds. And what I'm worried about, Patrick, is the fact that by the time we see it, the market might have already discounted it. So I look at this minus 40 on the German bonds, and I'm like, I must admit, I made it my biggest position this week. And maybe I'm wrong, but I look at it and I think to myself, the Lagarde might be more of a change in the status quo than people realize. and that we might be on the cusp of a big fiscal spend in all of Europe. And if so, we're going to look back at this minus 40 and go, that was the obscene print. And it won't be long before this is back at a positive number.
Oh, I'm not going to
And
say anything because I think there's asymmetry in your favor, and that's a good thing for you.
okay, well, that's bad
There's,
news that you agree with me.
well,
prefer
I have.
you-
Well, no, I don't have a position in it, so
Okay, well, then we're
so
okay.
you're okay. But look at that Italian 10-year. Like, can you just like look at the rate of which it accelerated last week or the earlier this week? Just like it went from 220 yield down to 1.60.
And this is good for the economy. Like, this is good for the European economy. Anyways, it does. Listen, we're gonna have to see, because if it's more of the same shit, it's not gonna work, and my trade's gonna be wrong. If they decide to try to fix all their problems with monetary as opposed to fiscal, then I will be wrong and I will give up. But I am hopeful that Lagarde is changing of the attitude amongst Europeans, and this represents the shift, and we'll say it all started when Lagarde was put in charge of the ECB.
There you go. So let's move on to number 3, where we had to mention Deutsche Bank because like we literally mentioned it like a month ago on this show, right at the bottom. Once again,
You were probably giving me a hard time, right? You were probably giving me a hard time about
No,
my
you
call.
were prodding me into giving you a hard time.
Oh, yeah. I you know what? And this again, we're seeing lots of news out of Germany. They're going to cut 10,000 or 20,000 jobs in Deutsche Bank. I don't know. It's like some crazy number. It's a shit show. There's no doubt about it. I read this article on Bloomberg about how most Deutsche Bank traders take off a lunch and go to the bar or the pub and just drink nowadays. I think that I have been of the opinion that this last reach for duration in the bond market has been actually emanated out of Europe. And I actually think that a lot of the problem has been out of Europe, and that is really what's driven this whole kind of risk off worry kind of rally in the bond market. And I think that if we get a situation where we get the worst behind us and we kind of realize that the German government is not going to let the Deutsche Bank go under, and they're going to do whatever it takes, and they're going to cut, and they're going to fix this situation somehow, whether it be kind of throwing money at it or whether they're going to be, changing their fiscal policy, whatever it is. I think we're approaching the end. That's all I want to say about that. I think that you're going to look back, and Deutsche Bank at $7 might look like a steal. And I know.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I know that seems crazy. I get it. I understand. As I say that, I kind of feel like a little tinge, and I feel like, oh God, I shouldn't have said that. But I really think that it might be like Citibank at whatever the obscene number was on Citibank, right? Everyone hated Citibank at the lows too, right? And we could be a same situation. And it's a very similar thing in that Deutsche Bank is as German as Citibank is American.
True. It's one of their largest banks for sure.
And it's by far their largest bank, and they just cannot afford to let it go under. And I think they're going to do whatever it takes to fix it.
All right. Well,
and I think this is the start of the start. You know what? What did Winston Churchill say? It's not the end, but it's the start of the end, or some crazy stuff like that. I'm not sure. In between drinks, that's what he said. But, anyways, I do think that we're approaching the end of it. And for those getting bearish on Deutsche Bank at this point, good luck to you. Maybe you're right. Maybe it collapses in a huge pile of mess. But I think that it's worth a shot on the long side.
All right. Well, you said that at 10 too, right? So
yeah, I
see
did.
How that...
Well, yeah, I'm offside $3. Okay, go on.
All right. Number 2, we're going to talk central banks. I was going to originally talk about just the Bank of Canada, right, which is on Wednesday. They're coming out with the rate statement and the overnight rate, which is expected to be unchanged at 1.75. And there's a lot of questions as to whether they would even follow the Fed with a rate cut if the Fed did cut. But at this stage, there isn't much there in terms of the market is pretty much pricing in them doing nothing. So I don't expect a surprise there. But you were talking about Fed Chairman Powell testifying, though, right?
Well, next week is Chairman Fed Powell is going to testify, and I think it's going to be a chance for him to kind of cement what he wants to do in terms of going forward. Is he going to kind of say something to the effect that is one and done? Is he going to say no rate cut in July, which will be a real problem? I'm not sure, but there's a lot of central bank action.
It's in front of the House Financial Services Committee, is it? That he's testifying, is it?
You're absolutely correct. Like it's Humphrey Hopkins.
Yeah.
What do you got for number one, Patrick?
So, Kev, number one is U.S. inflation rates. And this is probably the biggest point of contention between yourself and myself as to where inflation's going next. But, these are just the monthly numbers. So this is not where, where the Kevin Muir Macro Tours boogeyman comes out in 1 month. But this is where it could start to become a trend. But right now, at least from the sources I have here on my screen, the expectation for CPI on Thursday to come in actually at 0. Is that what you have on your end as well?
Let me look on the Bloomberg. So you're saying that you think that next week is they're expecting
just a 0 number on the main inflation. Core inflation actually, they're looking at a little higher, like 0.2.
That's correct. So you're right. The month over month is expected to be 0.
Right,
and
core inflation at 0.2.
Are you asking me that question because you want to emphasize the fact that there's no inflation so far, Patrick?
Well, no, but I'm actually, to be honest, when the market is actually pricing in no inflation, that actually creates the opportunity for a surprise.
That's right. Like, and not only that, the CPI ex food and energy is expected to be 2%.
Right, because we've seen spikes in food and other types of things that have had little pushes, and the PPI is expected to come in at 0.1. Like I still believe that inflation is not the immediate boogeyman. Listen, eventually, give yourself a couple decades. One day, your nightmare will come true, and there will be some scary inflation. But it is not going to be a 2019 story. You just got to get over it.
Okay.
Well,
I'm gonna enjoy the what is it, steak dinner? What do we have on the inflation number for the second half?
I don't even know. We'll have to. We didn't bet on inflation, did we?
Sure, we did. For sure, we did. Not like for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. The only question if it was steak or burgers. So. If I was like you, Patrick, I would say, after I won, I would say it's definitely steak, even though it was like a Duke and Duke.
That would be okay. I have the list here in front of me. I'm gonna quickly see instrument Fed funds.
Yeah, no, we bet on inflation. We bet on the second half.
We have not. I don't see it.
Okay,
we've bet on Fed funds.
I don't remember you guys.
Oh no, CPI. Okay, no. Okay. Episode 24, when turkeys fly, CPI. Inflation will average more or less than 1.9% for the remainder of 2.9. Kevin takes the over, I take the under. It's a night of beer drinking for 5 listeners and the winner.
There you go. So the only question is the listeners that we get, I insist that if I win, they be inflation bulls, and then if Patrick wins, they be kind of deflationists like Gary Schilling kind of disciples.
All right. Well, listen, I'm winning so far, right?
Oh, for sure you are.
Yeah.
Not a doubt.
Okay, but I mean, a lot can happen in 6 months, right? Like
for sure.
It's.
But those beers will taste so good, Patrick, when I win.
Oh Jesus! You already
Anyway,
lost.
So this month, I don't know if this is going to be the month that shows that I'm correct. We'll see. It's still a lot up in the 1 month. Anything can happen. Let's admit that, right? Like
it's whether it becomes a continuous trend, right? The rate of change is picking up.
And what's interesting, Patrick, is that we're seeing lots of inflation in Canada.
Sure.
And it's been every single inflation number has been kind of surprising to the upside.
Yeah.
So I think it's only a matter of time till we see the same sort of stuff in the U.S.
All right. Well, you heard it from Kevin Muir here first, and so all of our listeners have the edge. All right, so